All right, happy Thursday. We're going to get straight into it. No time to waste. We're doing another pre-London today. I might do a London later, or during London Open, depending on if we have any potential trades. But for now, I'm just going to be doing this pre-London plan for London. A lot of this is already kind of planned, but we'll go straight into it. This naked low got taken out. It got taken out a while back, but we didn't really specified, and now we've kind of just really ran through, and we're probably going to end up going all the way down into this low. That is my prediction. Currently, we have formed some form of supply above us. This is all I am monitoring for silver. That is it. And there's no real POI that I'm expecting a bounce back. Yeah. Like all this has been swept. It's just in here, which is very, very low time frame. And we're kind of just waiting to see what price decides to do at the moment with silver. As I said, we got supply above us there. Let's go to gold. I'm actually going to switch these two because I don't really like them. Gold has to be on top of silver. We have ran through this demand. Obviously, we were preparing for a accumulation model in here, which we've absolutely ran through. So that can all go. Yes, everything can go. And so far, we're going to see if we're going to respect this 3-hour OBIF. You can always look for accumulations in here, but as of now, it's just real abrupt downward price movement, so nothing to really monitor for the time being. We just want to wait and see what happens with this POI, if we're going to run through it or keep respecting it. But based on the price action now, I do expect us to run through it. Look at these massive 2-hour candles during London session. So nothing really to trade as of now for gold. We will look at oil. We did front run this potential accumulation. However, in the meantime, we have created some form of potential distribution schematic, which will be interesting to see if and what happens with it. This is my extreme liquidity POI. Price has kind of gone pretty low within it, so I am expecting a bit more of a for this to be a legitimate third tap POI, you will need some form of return to zone forming, and for that to form, you need slow upwards price movement. But if you get slow upwards price movement, you're going to get a third tap, which is a lot more separated from tap 2 than tap 1 is. So you would get like the distance between your tap 1 and tap 2 is at the moment, or it is 5 hours and 30 minutes. Now, if you get something like that, you're going to get a time displacement of about 16 hours, give or take. So it's not a high quality third tap POI, but then if that does happen, you can always redraw your range of it. If we get a deviation. If we don't get a deviation, you're not going to want to redraw a range. But if we get a deviation, let's say we come up a bit higher like that, then you can draw your range from this tap and it becomes something like this, where we then look to grab some form of extreme liquidity in here, and price comes in, grabs it, and then moves back down. So that's kind of how you would prepare for this scenario. But at the moment, this is all that we've got. And looking on the lower time frame, nothing really in here. And no real supply in here either that I would like to use, or that's worth using. So I'm kind of just going to wait a bit more on this oil range to see what happens. Technically speaking, this is more of a slightly higher probability range. It's just a bit more higher time frame. So you kind of want to look at something like this for oil at the moment. And maybe eventually you get some form of a wick which sweeps this extreme liquidity POI. We will wait and see. And that is it for oil. Let's go Euro USD. So this has now been officially a range. This is now officially a range. So we'll see what happens here. I wouldn't really go into the, unless you get some form of mitigation here, I wouldn't really go to the length of drawing a range in here, as it's just too low time frame, and it's just it's still too close to the EQ of this slightly higher time frame range we are in. So I'm not interested in drawing a range from here. That's it for Euro USD. Just be patient. And in here, don't mind this. You could potentially long here. Technically speaking, you do have 3 taps. Technically speaking, you do. We have mitigated this extreme demand. Obviously, you do have extreme liquidity below, and then you also have quite a bit more demand below. The only thing I want to look at is how much more refined can we find demand below us? Because if there's more refined demand, I wouldn't be surprised if we go down lower to mitigate this more refined demand zone. Technically speaking, you do have this. I'm just curious if it has been, yeah, that would have been mitigated. So far, I'm not really seeing anything more, something much more refined. Unless it would have been there, but even that looks mitigated. To be fair, yeah, it's kind of it. And if it is, it's just way too small for a. Compared to the range, it's just way too small. Too small of a demand POI. Therefore, we can expect some form of return back up. The only thing I do not like is this pretty major supply POI here. And other than that, the return to zone is nice. Like up until like here, you have a really, really nice and clean return to zone. But from here, it's just too abrupt on the move down. Hence why I would ideally like for some form of supply mitigation. But if we don't get that, for the time being, I will monitor this range. And just see what happens. Asia high is at the top, with Asia low being taken. So yeah, kind of have to wait and see what price does. It's not, yeah. I'm not too fond on longing just at the moment. And it's also good to note that we actually have no wick here. So price can continue to move down. It's not, so far when I'm not seeing a strong reversal sign at the moment, just, yeah, based on the fact that, yeah, look at that candle. Very bearish candle there. Not really showing sign of wanting to push back up. So, and then also this range itself, yeah, as I was saying, we have a nice return zone from like here to here, as I've drawn it, but from here to here, it is not a good. There's essentially no return to zone, and price is showing weakness. Hence why we have this supply created here. So yeah, I'm going to monitor this range. Maybe we get a little scalp where I can take a small accumulation scalp and take profit one here and let this run and see what happens. But otherwise, I'm not too interested in longing at the moment. I'll add my alert there. And I think we do have an alert here. Now we do. Alright, AUD USD. Yeah, as I put on the platter yesterday, if anyone took it. Technically, I was a bit late to put on the platter. I put on the platter after it kind of already was on the platter. But fair play to anyone that entered here. Very, very clean setup. I had obviously just missed this, hence why I did not enter. Two-hour supply here. Yeah, pretty intrigued as to where price might want to go now. This will be my range. Thus far, it is a valid range. Next, USD CAD. So far, price is moving as we predicted, so not much more, no further action required here. No real low time frame scalp. I kind of just want to wait for price to do its thing. GBP, JPY. That was mitigated. And I'm pretty sure we left some supply in the meantime. That's mitigated. There's probably some valid structure supply in here. However, thus far, everything does look mitigated. Even this is mitigated. The market makers are not leaving anything behind. Same as that. All the way there, you can see. Nice low time frame distribution schematic here. Very nice to see. Yeah, nothing really at the moment. I kind of just want to see what price does upon this mitigation, but not much more to draw here. I'll get rid of this. Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, GBP NZD. We can now overrule this, which did play out, to be fair. Played out in New York and after hours. Terrible time to have entered. With no real return to zone either. Not really. I think I looked at this in the morning and I was like, what is this price action? But we have obviously come out of the compression, so we are now no longer compressing. Yeah, be a bit patient here, see what happens. Euro GBP. We're kind of coming out of this compression, sort of. Sort of to not really. Yeah, we are still technically compressing at the moment. Maybe there's a little distribution scalp in here from what I'm seeing. We can monitor this. In fact, I will monitor this. That's if we start getting some form of rejection like now. However, there's no real market structure low, unfortunately. It's kind of just here. Which is valid on the 5 minute. So we have our 5 minute market structure low. Like the return to zone is nice, but the market structure low is not. I'm going to leave that there. Euro NZD. If anything, maybe right here. You have a potential potential accumulation or distribution, sorry, potential distribution model in here. Will be interesting to see how price reacts from here. I will allow this as extreme supply. Technically, that is a deviation, but it could just be a very low time frame. You know, tap 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, technically speaking, this is our first deviation. We actually came back not fairly deep back into the zone, then created a third tap. So this is technically a fourth tap, but you can kind of use this as this whole sort of move as a second tap on a much larger scale. And I will then be using this as my extreme liquidity. And we are leaving behind some nice buy side liquidity as well. So I can see price coming back up. Yeah, that's kind of it for Euro NZD. All right, moving on. USD against the Swiss franc. What's happening here? We have ran through all this supply. Yeah, this is just really market structure. Yeah, I definitely, this is not a ranging environment. This is just simply upwards market structure, and I do not recommend using that as a range. If anything, you can kind of pull your range like this. Given we start coming back in here, but same thing, it's just not a clean looking range. This demand is kind of backed by the volume area low, which I do not like. Yeah, fairly sketchy setup, this one. Would not advise taking it. Yeah, high time frame wise, we kind of do expect lower, just so we can really run through this 2-day OBIF, but yeah, and you've also got quite a bit of supply above. Yeah, US dollar against the Swiss franc, not giving me anything worthwhile at the moment. We'll move on. Yeah, we're kind of running through this demand. We do have liquidity here, which, given we're this close to it, I do expect it to get taken out pretty soon. So we'll see what happens after that gets taken out. USD JPY. This is now going to be my next range. So we'll see what price decides to do in here. We front ran this POI. And we have this supply POI up here. Very nice. Is this a demand below? Maybe structurally, yes, and it is. So yeah, just like as you're watching me, guys, like really emphasize on plotting your demand and supply POIs, because that's where you're going to be looking for accumulation and distribution schematics near or within. Technically speaking, is this a range as of yet? Yeah, just. That's fine. And let's check NZD against the Canadian dollar. We did just mitigate this demand, but we have also created that distribution in the meantime. Regardless, what I will be looking for is one more revisit in this demand chain creation. If I can get a nice reaction from this, then I'll be interested in looking for a long. So we will see what happens here. But yeah, have these zero alerts, guys. Keep an eye out, and yeah, well, I might come back on later during London. Can't make any promises at the moment. We'll see how the market plays out. But yeah, thank you guys for viewing today, and I will catch you soon. Oos.